Hey guys, Well Customs here, and today we are taking a look at the Transformer generations, and this is Fire Drive and Autobot Hot Rod right here. Looks pretty cool. A new addition of a deluxe hot rod for your collection, so that's pretty cool in 12 fast steps. So let's take a look and open them up. Alright, so here is Hot Rod in his vehicle mode. As you can see, it looks pretty decent, nice and clean looking. No real complaints here. You do have his guns mounted on the side right there, which is pretty cool. You can actually do a couple of different ways after you take it out about ruining or pulling apart the vehicle mode right there. And you see there's two little peg holes on each side to do that. But you can take the gun and you can actually put it together like so. You kind of have to like angle it in a certain way. There you go. And from there you can actually mount it on the front of the car like so, which is pretty cool, like that. And what is also pretty nifty is that you can open this up, which is pretty nice. You get your thumb, your nail underneath there. And right there, you have Fire Drive sitting inside there, which is pretty decent. That's how it looks like. Close that. You can actually put him inside there as well, if you want to mount him like that. Definitely pretty cool. Not bad at all. But looking at the car itself, very nice, you know, nice and clean. I never had the original generation's deluxe hot rod, so this is a nice addition to have in my collection. That, you know, it's really hard to get now, it's too expensive. But this is pretty good, a nice new addition. Nice and clean, no real complaints at all. There's the back right here. Looks like it has kind of an exhaust right there too. I'm not really sure if you could actually connect something in there later on, but very cool. Now for a quick size comparison, actually this is the MP28 Rodimus right here, which is about the same size, you know, surprisingly not a big difference right there. And you can see side by side. Obviously this is a little bit bigger, but it's not that much different, to be honest. Obviously these are two different kinds of figures. This is a Masterpiece, this is the generation's Titans Returns, but it's definitely pretty cool to see them side by side like that. Alright, now it's time to transform Hot Rod. It says about 12 steps. I probably will do it in about 14 because I never follow the rules. But first off, what I like to do is take this part up and move it up. And from there, you just basically unhook everything. It's a pretty simple transformation, actually. And you bring down the arms, just a little bit the shoulders, and then go with the legs. You unfold them out, fold them out like that. And you want to bring the feet up like so, like that, and bring these part back on the legs. Then you want to take the whole waist and swing him around. Pretty good. And then next you want to bring down the chest piece, fold this part down, and there you go. Go to the back, flip this around, bring it up. It pretty much stays there. A little hook right there, as you can see, hooks in. Then bring the hands out like so, and there you got Rodimus, no, Hot Rod with no head. Alright, so this is when you take Fire Drive right here, you fold him down, pretty much just like that, and you have Hot Rod's head, and you just pretty much clamp it in there, like that. Alright, so here is Hot Rod in robot mode. I have to say, very nice looking, pretty good and decent. Like I said before, I never had the original Hot Rod from the original generations, but this is a nice addition to have in my collection right now. Pretty good. He looks a little bit more modern, looks like, you know, with the new generations, they kind of went another direction in accuracy, or comic book like accuracy, you want to say that, but I still like it a lot. So let's take a look at him up close. Alright, so taking a look at Hot Rod up close, you see his head sculpt right there, pretty decent. It's not the most accurate in my opinion, but I think it'll pass pretty much. It's a lot better in my opinion than the original. But going down to the rest of the body, very nice looking. He does have kind of high shoulders right there. I don't think that is accurate, but I could be wrong. But going down to the rest of the body, it's pretty decent. A little slim, but everything's there, so it's pretty nice. In the back over here, he does have a little bit of a kibble, but that's part of his wing right here, which kind of completes his look anyway, so no real complaints right there. Now for accessories, he does come with two blasters right here, which are pretty decent. They do go in both hands, no problem. So I do wish they did have a blaster that could combine to be a rifle, but this is still pretty decent overall anyway. So he has two dual blasters like that. Bam bam. Now going to articulation, he has a swivel head. There's not much of a ball joint in it. It doesn't go up and down really because it just snaps right in, but it does rotate left and right. No problems there. He does have a pretty nifty hinge right there at the shoulders to go all the way up at 2 different points. One at ball joint at the shoulder right there, and at the hinge at the shoulder over there. So decent articulation right there, and it goes up and down, no problems there, all the way around. He does have a bicep swivel over here and a hinge right there at the elbow, so pretty decent. There's no articulation at all at the wrist. If you want to include this part of the transformation, you can, but pretty much nothing right there. No ab joints. He does have a swivel at the waist though. Ball jointed hips right there. Go all the way up. Go back just a little bit. Can do kind of a decent split. Look at that. He does have a thigh swivel right there. 1 point. What was 1 point? Maybe 2. Kind of has 2 actually. 2 points at the knee right there, 1 in the front and 1 in the back right there, so not bad. And at the ankle, nothing but a little bit of a hinge at the ankle at the foot. So pretty decent and standard articulation for a transformer at least. You do get some added articulation in the shoulders though, and that is pretty much it. Now I do have one gripe with the figure. Even though it looks pretty nice, I like how it looks, it is pretty flimsy. The ball joints at the hips are pretty loose. Not loose, but they do kind of give a little bit. So they do kind of flop around. It's not the sturdiest. Maybe you want to get some super glue in there and rotate it to get it stiffened up. Also the shoulders, they do feel kind of big on this body. A little bit too big in my opinion. I don't know, maybe just me, but the biggest problem for me really is just the ball joint at the hips. Alright, so quick size comparison here is Hot Rod with Rodimus Prime right here. Like I said before, this is the Masterpiece, while this is the Generations Titans Return, but it's still a fun comparison to see them side by side anyway. Before and after you touch the matrix of leadership and fuse it with your spark. Looks pretty cool though, I like the size difference. You know, the new Masterpieces are a little bit smaller now from the original MP1 and 2, so it's pretty nice to see that they're a little bit on par with the Generations ones. And for a quick size comparison, we're throwing in Galvatron right here, which is a pretty decent size as well. You know, this is the one from the Titans Return as well. And he's bigger than actually the MP Rodimus Prime right here. So that's pretty good to have in your collection if you want to do that. And of course, this is not the same price as this. This is like 20 bucks. So you got a pretty good deal with this Galvatron right here. And for another size comparison, here he is with some Optimus Prime figures in my collection. I actually did away with the new Generations one. That was just too bulky, too stumpy looking. I like this one a lot better, or these two at least. This is the Toy World one, and this is the Make Toys version. And you know, they look pretty good. Good height, definitely. You know, he should be a little smaller compared to these anyway. And I think it looks pretty good. And for another size comparison, here he is with Ultra Magnus in the background, which is the big man right there, which he stole the Matrix of Leadership from. It should have been his, but whatever. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it. Like I said before, I like the figure. I never had the original Hot Rod from the original Generations line, so this is a nice addition to have in my collection now. Like I said before, he's a little bit on the slim side. I don't like the joint right here in the ball joint, at least mine at least, a little bit loose, so I'm going to put some super glue in there and tighten it up. But other than that, he's still a fun figure to have. It looks pretty cool. He definitely fits the mold for the new generation, you know, Titans Return line, so you can't blame him there. And overall, just a nice, cool figure. So that's about it, guys. You know, I definitely would suggest you to buy it if you find him. You know, you don't want the scalpers to get him like the original Hot Rod figure. And that's about it. So thanks for watching, guys. Like always, comment, criticize, subscribe, do whatever you want to pay attention. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at wildandcustoms.com. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Peace!